Well, let's take a look at what is happening in the markets, and we start off with the local bourse. That ahead of the budget speech that will be tabled tomorrow by Finance Minister Gquma, the local market seems to be stable and quite optimistic, and looking at the equity market and also the currency market. Of course, it did end off, the JSE did end off the day in red territory today, but seeming to be buoyed by some investor buying today. Of course, also digesting the latest unemployment figures coming out of South Africa for the fourth quarter of last year. The all share up by 0.75%, that largely being carried by the industrial 25. We've seen that climb almost 1%. Financial 15 ticking up there by almost 2/3%. And again, on the resources 10 complex of almost 0.1%. Let's take a look at the US markets that have come back online today. Of course, yesterday they were off on President's Day. We are seeing a little bit of softening in those markets. Quite interesting though, because we had seen the S&P 500 trading near all-time highs, and Nvidia also, of course, being a benchmark for the market, climbing about 3%, but seeming that those markets are shrugging all of those movements off. S&P 500 0.03% below that flat line. The tech-heavy Nasdaq gaining almost 0.1%. And so is the Dow. Let's take a look at what is happening across the Atlantic, and of course markets are digesting what could be coming out of talks between the US and Russia over peace talks between Russia and Ukraine, that taking place in Saudi Arabia. We also still are seeing the European defense stocks climbing. Of course, we saw that yesterday as well. The FTSE 100 up by almost 0.1%, CAC 40 climbing more than 0.33%, and the DAX popping by more than 0.25%. Let's take a look at the currency market, and we start off with how the rand is doing against some of the major currencies. And the rand remaining steady at 18.42 rand against the US dollar, against the pound at 23.24 rand, and against the rand at 19.27 rand. Let's take a look at how the other currency pairs are doing. Euro dollar at 1.04, pound dollar at 1.26, and the yen just below 152 against the US dollar.